LTE, so no 5G on this one. And it has the classic iPhone design with that large black bezel above and below the screen. But consider this, that the iPhone SE can run iOS 15, which makes it just as relevant as ever. But let's move on to the next category, and that is best small iPhone, and that is, without a doubt, the iPhone 13 mini.
20 seconds to count it. Okay, you make money here too.
Or $6.99 on a carrier plan. It's brilliant because it has everything the iPhone 13 has. It's just smaller. And if you're worried about battery life, don't be. The 13 mini packs a bigger battery than last year's 12 mini. And in our test, it lasted 3.5 hours longer than the 12 mini.
Come on, fucking.
It also lasted an hour longer than the iPhone 12 in the same test. That's impressive. Remarkably, the wide and ultra-wide cameras on the 13 mini are identical to the ones on last year's iPhone 12 Pro Max. Now, one way you can tell this on the back is the rear cameras are positioned diagonally to make room for that larger stabilized sensor.
I don't want to look at mine stuff, but you can see me.
Basically the same phone, but
I want to read your thing.
13, which might be tempting if you're trying to save money. But
20 years ago, the Russian president, this is about you, Vladimir Putin. In Germany, Hitler was the man. In Russia, way bigger in Germany, Vladimir Putin is the man. 20 years in power and pictures. You can see it all on Google. He's on a horse. He believes in the greening the planet. Okay? Simple. Tougher than anybody else.
And 12 Pro Max. The 13 Pro and 13 Pro Max are identical in pretty much every way. They even have the same camera.
Here's a shot. I'll get you a picture.
The same phone, just different sizes. The 13 Pro Max has a 6.7-inch.
Here's him shaking a hand at somebody.
Compared to the 6.1-inch one on the 13
Pro. Close this thing. Privacy. Russian President Boris Yeltsin shakes hands with his Prime Minister Vladimir Putin during their meeting at the Kremlin. Photographed by Elmira Kochayev, AFP Getty Images. This is probably the girl I gave the message to get to Putin. We need your help, like Obi-Wan Kenobi. Federal is fucking. Here comes, look at this shot. This is him in his young days. He's like my old father-in-law. He'll hit you on the third shot for sure.
The biggest drawback on this phone is going to be its old-style screen.
Let me give you his
as opposed to a nice
Facebook page.
But don't let that turn you away. The screen still looks good in daily use. And if you have an extra $50 in your budget,
trying to find it.
Getting the 128 gigabyte
There's a Facebook page. I got a fat finger. It takes me a while. Fucking spell it wrong.
Accident involving Alec Baldwin. As we learn new details from the sheriff in the case, the father of the armorer in charge of weapons on the arrest set.
I'll get to that in another minute. We're gonna listen to this girl.
Good morning, George.
Hold on, I gotta put on. Fuck, get off.
24-year-old armorer on the set of Rust has been at the center of this story.
That's my neighbor. He's a fucking hacker. I let him play. Fucking bang on his door with a bat. And he stops for a while. Still takes out the garbage.
This morning, for the first
You could
time,
have him, man.
shooting on the set of Rust. The father,
It's like Kato on.
Gutierrez Reed, speaking out to defend her as a father. Are you concerned that Hannah could go to jail?
No. The sheriff's department will get to the bottom of this. I'm not worried about that at all.
Phil Reed, a Hollywood veteran who served as an armorer.
Not Sherlock Holmes.
For films from
Pink Panther movie. My uncle loves. Every time he come home in a disguise, he has to creep in his house because Kato whips out a stick and tries to hit him with it. He's his fucking cook. That's how they play. It's fucking nuts.
She liked film, but she thought about going camera. But she worked with big.
Why did I say that? Oh, this guy, he can fucking get you anybody fucked up.
What his daughter did. Just the second
Yeah.
film,
The body they sent us on the video.
He did more trade with than me.
He did time. And there's lots of people. Give one word. He get it. He's not all up there about directions, but he'll find it.
She said yes. So I take the gun and I start to cock the gun. I'm not going to pull the trigger. I said, do you see the shoe?
Right. You need that guy.
Hannah was not in the church at the time. Her attorney
I don't
said
want
she
the
gave
role.
the gun to Assistant Director Dave Halls.
She had two duties.
Where is
Top
he?
duties and armor duties.
Did I find it, guys?
She had spun the chamber, the cylinder.
We're working on
She
it.
had given it to
I'm gonna
Hall. She had
click
shown him each of the 6 rounds.
Reminder on my
Halls was
phone.
going to take custody of that weapon.
So I don't forget to check
He
for
was inside the church.
Facebook.
Hannah was outside the church.
For your
trying to do her
site.
top duties.
Okay.
Were you at all concerned
You call you
about
captain
Hannah
of my
having to
turn.
take on the role of armor
All right.
and prop assistant?
I didn't like it, and he complained about it too.
Her attorney
Chief.
says this was the first time
That's
during
you.
the production of Rust that Hannah didn't personally.
We got chairman
feel
of the
gun
board.
violence.
That's
Halls
probably
says
your
Halls
role.
told him the gun was cold,
Here,
meaning there were no live rounds.
chairman of
Halls told
United
detectives
States.
he believed to be true.
I let go of the hammer. The gun goes off.
So you never pulled the trigger.
Chairman.
No. I would never.
Come on, what do we say?
That was the training that I had.
You need cover.
And pull trigger.
But Reed says his
Pull
daughter
trigger.
should have been called into the church for that rehearsal. And if she had, this tragedy could have been
Don't pull the
avoided.
trigger.
At one time, they should have had her own set.
Wait to
They
hear
took that
from him.
gun. If there's a live round placed in there, she would have found it.
You have confidence that Hannah would have checked that gun one more time.
No,
That should have been
absolutely.
in the church.
she's
She
on.
knows what to do.
I'm gonna get her.
Because that's what you would have done.
Hold on.
She doesn't
This
tell
girl's
me
better.
now.
No, that's not the right thing to say. This girl's younger.
But her attorney and her father say they believe
That's not. That's way better. Miley.
Sabotage is the most likely
Cyrus.
possibility. Probably.
Here.
Do you
Her
believe
father,
sabotage
singer.
was possible on
One
this
hit
set?
wonder.
Yeah.
Let's see. You want to hear a song from
A
her?
lot of motive there.
What's the one? Let me ask her what she wants to play. All right, Cyrus. What do you want to play?
Nobody wanted anybody to be killed.
Do you want
Developed evidence of motive for that. Why
to
didn't
play?
they want to do that? Why Hannah would have been a target?
I spell you
And
wrong.
that's all gone to the sheriff. So
That's
we're
code.
asking for that to be
We don't
completed
find you.
before any decisions are made on charging.
The sheriff telling ABC News in a new
I don't
interview
know.
this investigation is still active.
She got a concert over Russian. This is her probably. Let's see what she
coming off
say.
his first sit-down interview
She got a
since
good
the
song
shooting,
my daughter
Alec Baldwin
listens
is expected
to.
to make his first public appearance
She was
later this week.
very
As a master of
influential
ceremonies for a
for
human rights event in
probably
Georgia.
2/3,
Sheriff's got a tough job ahead.
maybe no 1/3 of the citizens. Easy win. Want to call?
This is Picasso. Picasso is the modern way
There.
to buy, own.
I gotta
and
do
enjoy a
shit
second
to
home.
stuff.
It is truly
I'm gonna leave that page
ownership
open and come back to it.
the cost, not a resort timeshare.
I'll just leave the windows open.
Find the second home of your dreams.
What was the other one?
Then bring together
Facebook.
others to co-own with you. And with our
Facebook.
full service management,
I'm gonna type in Putin in the search
it's less hassle
and we'll
expense.
have something up for you.
This is the modern way to buy and own
Like,
a second home.
play.
This is Picasso.
Who did this? The young guy from Harvard. Facebooky.
See, the New York Times critics pick hailed as a
Search.
bright and
Where is the
delightful new
search?
comedy.
Putin.
Lies. It's a
Come on, the
feel-good
fucking
play
thing
of
is
the
hacking me.
Broadway season.
Federal.
A triumph. It's a comedic feast about the healing
Go back.
power of food. Don't
I
miss
outsmart
Amy
them.
Uzo Aduba and Ron
There we
Cephas
go.
Jones in Lynn Nottage's
Putin.
Clyde on Broadway through January
We will.
16th. Tickets at 2st.com.
I clicked the wrong fucking thing again. There it is.
The Justice Department officially
Putin Vladimir,
into the
popular now.
1955 murder of Emmett Till and saying
Bingo.
federal prosecution is not possible.
Where is it?
Lindsay Davis, who spoke with Till's family, joins us with more on this.
Humiliated
This morning,
Biden.
66 years later, the wound has not healed for the
No,
family.
don't do that.
The FBI provided no
Good
balm for
plan.
their heartbreak. Several of his relatives
Biden
described
confronts
themselves
Putin as
disappointed
tension
but not
yesterday.
surprised that this case is finally being
Just
closed
went somewhere
without
else.
bringing about any charges.
We'll find it.
For 66 years,
Got a message.
we have suffered pain.
447,000 people are talking about you right now.
After the brutal murder of
Here,
Emmett Till,
it's cool.
Justice Department announcing they
Look.
have closed their
I
latest
share it.
investigation into the team's
Here you go to my page.
What did you initially think that you would hear, Miss Gordon?
I thought that I would hear exactly what I heard is that there was not sufficient evidence to bring new charges.
screenshot it, huh?
Therefore, the case would be
Here, look.
closed with no new information found.
Inside out.
The FBI reopened the case in 2017
After
Gotta
historian
fix it.
Tim Tyson claimed in his book that
Gotta fix
Carolyn
it.
Bryant Donaldson Hugh, in a 60 Minutes report from 2004, had taken back part of her
Dictation.
claim that Till had grabbed her
Here we go. That's
because he
better.
made lewd comments in a Mississippi grocery
Vladimir
store.
Putin.
Donaldson
It fucking went
denied
away.
recanting.
Oh.
And on Monday, the DOJ concluded
Oh, you
that
be
there was no
obsessed. Oh,
sufficient evidence to support
this guy
any
is
new
much
charges.
pictures.
Tyson telling ABC News in a statement that Donham told her attorney her story but did not mention any physical contact,
Just
which
like
she described in court as
a lot
more
of
or less a rape
messages.
attempt,
Here,
which she told me,
2
that
pictures.
part's not
See,
true. I was well aware
we
of
gotta
that.
put up a
He
link
had to meet his death
my
in
shit.
order for change
Some
to come in
pictures
the
of
world.
you.
That's
Can I
the
get
civil
there?
rights movement, and from that we got a lot more justice and a lot more privilege.
This network is hacked.
In 1955, Till was
I
taken
call him
from
on
the
it and they fix
Mississippi
it.
home of his great uncle,
Takes a
Roy
bit.
Bryant, in
I gotta
J.W.
capture a
Milan,
screenshot.
the husband and
Report it.
brother-in-law of Donham. His
Guys,
tortured
guys
body was
inside,
pulled
fix it.
from the Tallahatchie River.
They knew I was running.
Till's grieving mother,
I
Lady
did that
Till Mosley,
last term and I
made the
say, fuck it.
decision that
I beat his
changed
ass.
history, holding an open casket funeral for Emmett,
They hid
her
it.
only
Better.
child, which thousands attended and fueled the civil rights movement.
Roy Bryant and J.W. Milan were both tried and found not guilty by an all-white jury. A few months later, protected by double jeopardy, they
Come on,
confessed
I'm
to the murder
fucking
in a
tired.
interview. Both men
I gotta get to sleep in a half an hour.
that no one will ever answer for the death
And there
of
goes
their
my
relatives
fucking
and
happy ending.
family. They are clinging to their faith. And 3 of the
Things I do for
relatives
his
quoted
country,
some
yes,
Bible scripture yesterday after the press conference, saying, "Vengeance
Look at
is
you.
mine, I will repay,
Oh, shit, we
saith the
find
Lord."
here.
And at this point, they say, this is something that Mamie
I
herself
think that's it,
said
right?
before her death.
And knowing that his death, as tragic as it was, and as
Come on,
painful
Nick.
as it was for them,
This
for
is
them as a
sad.
family to say, but we know that
Saying.
it helped in some way in sparking the
Before.
civil rights movement.
That they feel in some way
Here's
his death made more of an answer than
most
perhaps
likely,
his living.
I bet,
We owe that young
Just
man so much. and
Master
so many sacrifices
Putin
changed this country.
For sure.
about
President,
to
thank you
start
so much, as always, we appreciate it.
new shit. You should watch.
Started out as normal Tuesday, very foggy that morning.
Putin.
Walked into class.
Putin is you.
Behind me, started
Okay.
to bar the door, and she started saying that there's somebody with a gun outside in the hallway around her corner. We arm ourselves with scissors, hockey stick, anything that we could find to try to fend off the assailant if they enter our room.
Dylan Morris, like so many 17-year-olds, has so much to look forward to. But today,
The
he's
pictures,
talking about what
I can't
he
see.
just lived through.
I gotta reverse
I
the
was texting my
fucker.
parents to tell them that I love them.
Make sure I
And
have
if I don't
4
make it out of
pictures.
this, then I'm very sorry.
It's been 6 days since a mass shooting at
Can't
Oxford
fucking
High School
see.
in Michigan took the lives of
There it
4
is.
students. Tate Meir,
Did I get
Anna
that?
St. Juliana, Madison Baldwin,
I don't think
and
that
Justin
picture's there.
Schilling. 7 others were injured, including a teacher. In this community,
Inside
trying
out.
to make sense
What the fuck
of a
does this say?
senseless tragedy.
The fact that
How
I heard
contrast.
2 of the gunshots and those probably either hurt somebody or even killed somebody
What
is
the
just
hell is this?
insane to me.
In the aftermath, the alleged gunman, 15-year-old
The promotion
was charged as an adult with
blocks
terrorism
me.
and first-degree murder.
I look.
I
I
am
got
absolutely
your
sure after reviewing the evidence that it
censor.
wasn't even a close call. It was absolutely premeditated.
His parents,
What are we
James
doing
and
with the
Jennifer
ads?
Crumley, each charged with 4 counts of
Fucking hacking my
involuntary
ass.
manslaughter.
I gotta look
They're
at
also
messages.
behind
Wait.
bars, same prison
Marley,
as their
here's
son,
her.
leaving
No,
so
she likes
many
it. Snyder?
asking questions still
Oh, yeah,
unanswered.
Snyder's got the tank.
What could
Okay,
they
we got
have
the codes.
What warning signs were missed?
This
Why
girl.
was a troubled teenager so easily able to
She's
access
cute.
a firearm?
She likes it. I gotta find her here. We go
If you
here.
fail to uphold that responsibility,
Message
there
her.
are
I
serious
gotta keep it private.
consequences.
Now, in the wake of this nation's deadliest school shooting since 2018,
Burn Abbey, British Columbia.
close look at the days leading up to the
What do I
attack.
ask her?
The shooter repeatedly
Do you?
brought concerns at his school.
How do I get this? I can't. Somebody's gonna see it, though, you
We
know?
all should be looking at the events that led up to that horrific event.
Just 4 days before the shooting, Ethan Crumley's
Yeah.
father legally purchased a
So got a
9mm
nine?
Sig Sauer handgun.
Oh, yeah,
That day,
okay, I
the alleged
remember.
shooter posted this now deleted Instagram photo captioned,
Thanks a
"Just
lot
got my new beauty today."
for
This post from his
the
mother's
roses.
account captioned, "Mom and
I
Son
need
Day, testing out
keys
new
to the
Christmas
car.
present." On November 29th, prosecutors
Got
say
to
a
take
teacher
friends
reported
here.
the suspect searching ammunition
It's
on his
been
phone. The school reported they
80.
called the parents, but the
I
parents
forget
didn't
the
respond.
caliber.
Thereafter,
Calibers.
Jennifer Crumbley exchanged
Up
text
to you.
messages about the incident with her son on that day, stating, quote, LOL, I'm not mad at you.
What?
You have to learn not to get caught.
Every
getting
text
caught.
message, every social media post, whether it be an innocent one with Ethan and his mother, or Ethan and his father, or all three of them together with a picture of this gun, is going to be used as circumstantial evidence
I
by
don't
the
have no gun on
prosecution
pictures.
to show that
She's
they
got
should
the
have
guns.
known something.
And
Look
then
at this.
the morning of the shooting, prosecutors say another teacher was alarmed by a picture drawn by the teen that included a gun, a bullet, a person appearing shot, along with the words, "The thoughts won't stop, help me, blood everywhere,
That's my sniper.
my life is useless, and the world is dead."
We're going to hear from each and every person in Ethan's school that
He's not my
raised a red
sniper.
flag
He's
or
my
a
friend.
concern. That's also going to be used
He
by
done
the
me a favor,
prosecution
got
to
me
show
out of the
this
woods in
level of
Texas.
negligence that they should
Said
have
I
known or seen these
cover
red
up.
flags, and they, for all intents and purposes, ignored it.
The guys here, stay down.
Immediately summoned to school, and they met with officials there who informed them their
They ran
son
him off.
had to receive mental health counseling within 48
I get to
hours.
find who has the
According to
MiG.
the school, the parents resisted taking
It was
him
in
home.
He was returned back to class with
When?
his backpack, where we have
was
reason to believe
backpacking.
the gun was stored in the backpack.
At 12:51 p.m.,
Where did I go?
prosecutors say
What year?
surveillance video shows
2017.
Crumbley
Before
entering the
that,
bathroom carrying the
I saw your
backpack.
MiG.
And after he exited
You got.
without
Somebody
the
got it.
backpack,
It wasn't you. Somebody got it. And it fly by me. And I said, okay, I gotta call you.
Her and I start to barricade the doors.
At 1:20
Your photographer, journalist is out here. She emailed you. I'll find it.
At 1:37 p.m.
You gotta call a CIA guy.
To report his gun is missing. That was the operator.
Patriot Act. Forget the code.
Might be his son.
Freedom Act. No.
How long were you there in the classroom?
Just talk to an attorney.
Were you on edge and threatened the whole time? We were all on edge the whole time.
Police ultimately arrest the alleged out incident.
Footage.
Investigators then turn their focus on his parents.
They shoot him down here. Training. Big gold mine.
Hours-long manhunt.
I'm gonna hide it.
Putting out a $10,000 reward for information leading to their arrest. They're eventually found by authorities in an empty building early Saturday morning after a citizen spotted their vehicle and called police.
The district attorney is attacking it in a unique way.
Go see Spider.
If the guns can't be held responsible,
He's
or
got the
people
guns.
operating the guns can't be held responsible, then especially
He'll show you a classic one. I can tell him to give you one.
they're going to start going after the parents to make sure that the parents are responsible for
We'll
the children.
keep it locked.
The couple pleading not guilty.
Oh, it's got a modified mag. You can't get it no more. You get a picture of you with that.
James Crumbley shaking his head at the
You guys are
prosecutor's
smart.
accusations.
For Prosecutor
Fucking
McDonald, she
don't
said
tell me
he
that.
had the gun in Ethan Crumbley's possession, and what was going on with him in the school or something that the parents knew of and disregarded.
Michigan does not have a child access prevention law. These states don't wake
And
up
see,
to this until there is a really high.
who else over there?
And then suddenly they say,
Look for
well,
Wolfpack.
yeah, we should pass this law.
I'll talk to
And
those
that's-
guys.
That's exactly where Michigan is right now.
More than 4 million minors live in homes with loaded, unlocked firearms. It's prompted mothers like Connecticut's Kristen Song to take action.
We're not going after the responsible gun owners. We're going after the negligent gun owners.
She's testified on Capitol Hill for stronger gun safety laws.
What's your favorite book?
3 years after her son Ethan was killed.
They all got Glocks around here. And
The
tasers.
shot at his best friend's
And rubber
house.
bullets.
Teens were
They get
playing
to
with a
choose.
handgun.
Stun her face or
Shot in
kill.
the head. I sat down with the Songs back in June about their mission fighting for safer gun storage laws across the country.
We realized that if you lose a child, you gain a mission. And from there, we began working on Ethan's Law. Love is the central guiding element of any great team.
After months of lobbying, Kristen and Mike celebrated when the Connecticut legislature passed Ethan's Law in 2019, requiring secure gun storage or a safety device in homes with a minor. Under Ethan's Law, owners could face jail time in Connecticut if their weapon accidentally wounds or kills someone.
Have some common sense, life-saving laws that follow.
Now the Songs are on a mission to make Ethan's Law national.
You're fine, you
Some
fuck up.
legislators are calling once again for stricter gun control laws in the wake of the Oxford shooting.
There's this misconception in the United States that America is split on guns. The division on guns is not among common Americans. It is on Capitol Hill. And there are lawmakers who made a calculation.
I couldn't read the book title.
The threat of the NRA.
This guy is on Apple.
People who want change.
In
A Nightline.
Oxford, Michigan, the first wakes for the victims are taking place today.
International news.
Dylan remembering Tate Meir, a friend, football player,
Lost his football buddy in tragic shooting. Negligent parent.
I've had a bunch of classes.
You don't put him in jail.
Very bright student, great athlete.
Look,
Do you remember
you can't just let it slide because
that he was among the people who have been killed?
teeth in every contract.
And I just
The guy selling the gun has to educate the owner.
And in the midst of yet another crisis in our country, Dylan hopes for a legacy beyond the tragedy.
Oxford will redefine madness. We may be remembered for
That's
it,
what I did.
but we will not be defined by it.
Make sure a guy buying a gun.
Should be defined for its kind.
It's gonna be big.
Students. It's just very tragic that this happens anywhere.
Don't fucking leave it around without this lock on it. Nobody will fucking get hurt.
Cereal or moisturizing body wash? Definitely moisturizer.
Antibacterial.
I prefer bat.
New Dove
It's quicker.
Protect Body Wash eliminates
Safer.
99% of bacteria and moisturizes for calories.
2 for 1. Like keep it.
New Dove Care and Protect. Zero compromise.
Mexico taught me. That's why I like it.
Mija, ¿esto es tuyo? She would have wanted to teach you herself. It's beautiful. Let's bake. Right now. 3
Somebody's here.
cups of harina. Una cucharadita.
The hell are you talking about? Code taken care
I
of.
always say that when she was cooking. Yeah.
What did I ask you? It's not Maya.
Etsy.
Oh, that's the tanks. You got a tank here if you want. Not for good. That's mine. Go to Ambet. You can take pictures on it. We could spray paint it or something.
Welcome back to Between Bells. Online learning platform Assemble was created to help educate and inspire the next generation of Black and Brown leaders. The site, which officially launched late last month, is home to original content featuring lessons on personal and professional development and are taught by prominent Black and Brown investors inspired by the core belief learn from matters. We're joined now by its founders, Courtney Woodruff, Chief Executive Officer of Assemble and friend of the network, friend of mine. Courtney, welcome to the show.
Cheers, guys.
It's a pleasure, my friend. And Assemble's co-founder and actor, Jesse Williams. Jesse, welcome to the show. You have so
Too young.
many fans here at Cheddar, gentlemen. Thank you.
Where are they at?
so
I
much.
forget.
Jesse, I'll start with you. Who is this platform made for?
Philadelphia? No?
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. Really, really appreciate it. We're really excited about what's to come. So Assemble is really made for a really large and ever-growing BIPOC audience, Black, brown
Los
folks
Angeles.
who are hungry for knowledge, getting more and more access to information, and are able to kind of kick down doors that are previously
Look for Assemble.
made that access unavailable to them. So we have, for all
That's the
ages, folks
first
who are
code
establishing their
language.
career,
Assembly.
high school, college age students, folks looking to make a pivot in their life or just acquire new knowledge,
I
new
can find it.
information, and be able to practically
Teach
apply
people.
it. We're at Assemble, we believe who you learn from matters,
Assemble.
and that's because there's a lot of
Assemble.
nuance. It's not just bootstrapping, right? It's
BIPOC.
not just learning hard skills. There's actually
That's all.
different things that affect what it's like being a woman, being a person of color, being Black. gender orientation. There are little progressions and obstacles.
Oh, my mom said.
We think that your instructor should be able to relate to your experiences, teach to them in a practical, realistic manner for the realities of the world.
There's so many reasons I love this court. You were on the show a few months ago, and you said you wanted to start something like this. Congratulations on it coming to fruition. This platform is adding minority voices to educating on important topics like Jesse just mentioned. What does the user experience look like here?
I mean, it's you know, we focus heavily on the design. It's mobile friendly.
Courtney Woodruff, CEO,
you know,
Assemble.
We have an interface that drives
Courtney.
engagement, and there's amazing content behind it, and now we focus on making sure
Courtney
we have a price
Woodruff.
point that just drives adoption.
Like Wilson.
You know, that's really the biggest thing. It's just making sure that everything is seamless. We provide the best experience ever, and we're going to continue to be knowledgeable.
Question mark.
And just make sure that we're catering to our audience.
Court, before I move on, what is the price point here?
The price point is you can rent a course for $7 because we want to be cognizant and very, very aware of
That's a good deal. $7.
And you can purchase a course a la carte
$7.
$70. And the amazing thing right now is that there are
$70
episodes for every class that are free. So anyone can take a course and stream and draw some content that we think would be enjoyed by.
Jesse, let's talk about some of these classes. There's something for just about everyone. We're talking science, art, music. That's just to name a few. You're also going to be teaching one of these classes. Which class will you be teaching?
Well, we're still working on that. I should say I'm still working on that, trying to narrow down which elements of my experience and expertise are best to share. And I think one of the, you asked about interface and the variety of kind of avenues that we're coming at audiences with, and that's important because folks' interests change. We're no longer like growing up feeling like you have to be siloed in what do you want to be when you grow up, and you got to focus on that for the rest of your life. People change careers multiple times in their lives. You can grab different hobbies, and maybe you want to learn how to negotiate, but that doesn't mean you're a negotiator. Everybody has to negotiate at some point in their life, right? So we like to really design our instructor base around skills, talents, interests, and experience that can intermingle, that can be useful to all of our community in various ways. And that's partly
I need to write this down before I forget.
Making a couple episodes of each of these classes available now for free for folks to just sample, get a taste. As much, we can show you better than we can tell you sometimes. And we're aware that we have a lot of nonlinear learners. Folks learn differently. Everybody doesn't want to just stare at a talking head all the time. So we're thinking creatively about that. So yeah, you're right. We're coming at folks with art, education, practical skills, vocations, high-minded, thinking, philosophizing, as well as behind the camera skills. There's a lot of jobs that folks don't know even exist in the first place. And what we know is that there are incredible innovators at the peak of their field that are Black and brown in every single field.
This guy, they killed him.
It's one thing to let our audiences know they exist. It's a huge deal in terms
He's funny. Have you watched? I seen him at Penn State.
Attainable goals, and then giving them a real look under the hood at what makes it.
I recorded his shit. He's so funny.
Like I just mentioned, Jesse is an oncoming instructor. I want to mention a few more. Debbie Allen, Tiffany Haddish, real experts here, really
better off.
built in their field, right, Jesse? What is the process
This is
of selecting the
Virgin
right expert and
teacher.
content for the platform to ensure that
Virgin
people
Airlines.
are getting
He's
the
the
best and the most
guy on a island somewhere.
Yeah, that's a committee, and
Swing.
Jesse and I both, and as well as
What is
Ted,
it called?
we just try to figure out what the market
I go here.
what we think we need culturally
And we
as
say,
well, for our community.
You see, this is what I do. Look, he's talking. I get idea. I don't want to interrupt. I say,
that they need to exist.
jot down the idea.
We
What
also
is
try
it?
to
No, I
find
don't
talent
remember.
that have the same values as us as well, right? And as always, they they come into set and they have a
Negotiation.
heart of humility, and they're willing to really,
See, why I talk to you, I'm gonna teach my people.
Teach one, and we really
Each one teach one is a phrase kind of we teachers say.
Right? And Jesse, you want to add to that?
Somebody said that. It's good.
Yeah, it's
These guys
like
probably.
I was touching on earlier, we want to be able
You
to teach
say
hard skills and
negotiate
experiences, but that are also
some strength.
allow you to be adaptable.
And if you don't have that strength,
growth and change in your life, so
invent options.
If it's a practical skill of how to play a trumpet, that's one thing. You look at
Then you can negotiate. Don't go in there with your pants down.
Are world class in all these fields, right?
Right.
Actor.
This is what I teach. Taught. I don't really teach. People ask me. I tell them they don't usually listen to anything.
Values, beliefs, and experiences
but
that she's able to.
People used to have 15 seconds. They would wait max to see a web page. If it didn't load by 15 seconds, they were gone.
And we encourage them to want to
now
change, adapt, and be curious and live a curious life.
And probably a half a second.
So where do those streams kind of cross? And what can you?
And so the federal hacking going on tells me
and not only be educated, but also
that hacking is going on because they load page so slow. No way. They know they're hacking.
Jesse, I'm going to switch gears here. Like I mentioned, there are a lot of Grey's Anatomy fans here, a lot of fans of you.
No joke.
I have to ask, or my team is going to kill me. You left Grey's Anatomy last season. You left many of us.
Jesse Williams on Grey's Anatomy departed.
On camera or behind the camera?
Oh, it's a good show.
Possible, absolutely possible for both. I was
Grey's Anatomy.
Direct this season, but was shooting.
This is a good one to get.
Doable, and I just
look at what we make. Xenology. See,
my beloved Sarah Drew, April, who played Arrow.
I like it's heavy. You put it on the window.
So I speak to them.
Could be a little better, but it's good first version. I invent a patent for it a long time ago. Put it on your dashboard in your car. It powers itself. And then, son, and you got the thing to break the window, and it's your weapon. Your body might go down. They try to grab you. Hold.
Yes to all those. I absolutely had input, and I was overjoyed with it. It was really emotionally taxing, but I think offered some real resolution and some real world experience, both highs and lows.
I'm gonna eat
pain and love.
Some Skittles.
Your true self.
I don't want to work no more.
Yeah, I was really.
Come on. What do we gotta do to put this fuck in the red? Everybody wants. We're all on this. It's all our plan.
And we're overjoyed that you were here on Party. Thank you so much for your time again. From that, you are Courtney Woodruff, Chief Executive Officer of Assemble and Assemble's co-founder and actor.
They're gonna write a book about this, right? What's it gonna be called? I don't know. I'm done writing on that.
This holiday season, there's more magic at the
Ghostwrite it
with
for me.
Cinderella,
Okay.
the timeless fairy tale that has critics
Give it
raving.
to Arlo Levine.
Sung in English and just 90
She'll
minutes.
do with it.
It's the perfect way for families to celebrate.
I want one of those t-shirts. Cut sleeves. Cool.
Don't miss Cinderella at the Met.
Over 150,000 people with non-valvular AFib have left blood thinners behind with Watchman, a safe, one-time procedure that reduces stroke risk and bleeding worry for life.
Watchman.
It's one time for a lifetime.
Boston Scientific. They make
It's time for special deliveries.
microscopes.
Ford Get Holiday Ready sales event. Ford F-Series, Explorer, and Bronco Sport. They're
I
all
deliver it
here
to
at your
everybody.
local Ford dealer.
Batfish.
This strange fish may look like it got all glammed up, but its appearance is all natural. Meet the red-lip batfish.
What the hell is
Any other
this?
fish in the sea, according to the
Fucking
Ocean
media.
Conservancy. This can be attributed to the odd creature's lipstick red mouth and frog-like legs. Scientists aren't quite sure why they have
Y'all make me
the
laugh.
red mouth, but it could be
Once a
used to
day.
attract mates. The fish can only be found around the Galapagos Islands
Then I
in
can
the
go to
Pacific
bed.
Ocean, typically at depths of about 30 to 60 feet. But it can reach
Wow.
depths of up to 400 feet, as they like to hang out at the bottom of the sea. The Ocean Conservancy says they can swim, but it's pretty awkward. So the fish tends to walk on the sea floor with its modified pectoral and pelvic fins that look like legs. They also have a modified dorsal fin they can extend and retract to draw in small prey. Talk about a one-of-a-kind creature.
No. Let's go. I gotta get on my face or I'm gonna never get nothing done.
series, One World, One Pandemic, where we look at the latest battles against COVID-19 around the globe. At least 19 states are reporting cases now of that new Omicron variant here in the United States, and the CDC is urging people to
19 governors ready to go on board with you.
of any indoor
You
gathering,
need
even if you are
50, you need
vaccinated.
34. How fast you got 20?
Cases are surging there, but COVID fatigue has definitely set in. People are taking to the streets to protest the vaccine mandates and restrictions. James Longman has more for us.
There are two battles now raging across Europe. One is the quiet, relentless push against COVID. The other is the more violent, angry response to the measures in place to stop its spread. Europe's COVID numbers are, once again, record-breaking. More than 2 years into this pandemic, and the region is seeing its highest ever number of daily cases, 1 million new infections every 3 days. With the rise in cases, an all too familiar sight: lockdowns, mask mandates, and restrictions. But this time, the fight isn't just against the virus. Europe's leaders are now pointing to the unvaccinated. The famous Dresden Christmas market in Germany hasn't escaped the COVID ghost of Christmas past. Shut down once again because of Germany's rising case numbers.
What we see now that about 60 to 70% of the patients in hospitals are not vaccinated.
It's the latest announced a lockdown for the unvaccinated, saying those who refuse to get the jab will find themselves cut out from daily life. That means no restaurants, no bars, no hair salons. It's now no shop, no entry. Aaron Lenz is essentially stuck at home because he doesn't want to get the shot.
I'm basically shut out of society, and I don't think that that's a good situation to be in to make a decision. I think everyone should be able to make free decisions, and right now, that's not really possible.
Germany, like many other countries, made vaccines available. They've given you this long amount of time in order to come to a conclusion that you want to get yourself vaccinated, and you still haven't done it. At this point, it's very difficult to find more proof that vaccines work.
The thing is, I'm a young and healthy guy, and if I look at the numbers, I'm not that convinced that I need the vaccine. And if you put on top of that the government basically trying to force me to take it, then I don't like that outcome.
The president of the European Commission is so worried about vaccine hesitancy that she's considering an even more controversial route.
1/3 of the European population is not vaccinated. These are 150 million people. It is understandable and appropriate to potentially think about mandatory vaccination within the European Union.
What will you do if Germany introduces a vaccine mandate, if they make it the law that you must be vaccinated?
Well, I'd say I would try to ride it out as long as I can, and if it's not possible anymore, then I'd suggest other options, leaving the country or anything.
You'd prefer to leave the country rather than get vaccinated?
Yeah, honestly, yeah, because I made my decision, and the government trying to force me into it made me basically stand my ground even more.
Mandating vaccines is an ethical and political minefield, especially for the European Union, which prides itself on its liberal democratic values. But like so much else about European politics, COVID has emphasized the deep East-West division on the continent. In countries like Portugal, over 88% of the population has been vaccinated. In Bulgaria, though, it's less than 25%. And even within Germany, people living in Western states seem keener to get the shot, while some of those in the East resist. A COVID Cold War, fed largely by the right.
Studies showed us pretty clearly that the more you're far right, the more you also believe in conspiracy narratives. And you sort of see something like people being part of a team. And the team of the far right decided to deny the facts about this pandemic. And so they kind of have to be against vaccination because that's what their team thinks.
Why are some parts of Europe so happy to get vaccinated and other parts just not?
There are many different factors, but in Central and Eastern Europe, we can see it's sort of this massive trust deficit in institutions, in the government, which is the health department, which are the scientists. And I think it's a broader mistrust that we see throughout the world. But in Central and Eastern Europe, it's sort of a long-standing distrust for many, many years. And that has sort of culminated in extreme vaccine hesitancy.
But right-wing populists do have unlikely allies in their COVID conspiracy crusade. Europe's vast array of libertarians, nonconformists, and lovers of alternative medicine. So, what's the answer?
There's no one approach, and you need to target each of those groups very specifically. So, the group that's worried because of health reasons, they need to be targeted for those specific reasons with, very targeted measures.
Some countries aren't waiting, though, for the EU to decide on regulations. Austria will mandate vaccines in the new year. In January, Greece will fine anyone over 60 more than $100 a month if they haven't got their shot. And Italy and France already have vaccine passports. Just weeks ago, Europe looked set for a more festive Christmas than last year. But as the holiday approaches and Omicron looms, uncertainty is spreading.
Now, I don't think there should be much snogging under mistletoe.
Bring James in now to talk more about this. James, so good to see you. We heard in your piece there that Germany is the latest country to announce a lockdown for the unvaccinated. Let's talk about what the future looks like for Europe, where rates are still breaking records almost 2 years into this pandemic.
Well, Kieran, the future doesn't look brilliant, I don't think, especially now with Omicron on the horizon. The pattern so far has been quite fragmented across Europe. Pretty fragmented response to the pandemic. Brussels institutes a mandate for kind of advice that other European countries should follow, and yet each country has kind of gone its own way, and that doesn't really bode well for the kind of political entity that is the European Union. Add to that the fact that now we've had more restrictions, yet again, more difficulty to travel, and freedom of movement is one of the main principles that underpins the kind of European project. So put both of those things together, and really I think the future of Europe is put under strain by this, because you've got so many actors now across the continent who don't want Europe to kind of continue in its current form. You've got these right-wing populist groups who are now just been given more ammunition to argue against the European project. Add to that, you've got this sort of two-tier system, and I think we're going to see that going forward.
Watch Queen's Gambit
those who've been vaccinated versus
on Netflix.
Who are not
good.
Vaccinated yet. And so those unvaccinated people will be cut out from daily life. I think we're going to see more and more protests as a result. The hope, I think, the kind of the aim of these countries that have introduced these kind of measures is that people who are cut out from life want to get kind of more involved, and so they'll go and get vaccinated. But I think the evidence suggests that the longer you wait to get vaccinated, actually, the more likely it is you're going to get more and more of these conspiracy theories poured into your mind, and so you're less and less likely to want to go and get vaccinated. And the issue there, if in a country like Germany, for instance, which is just at 68% vaccination, is that you've got enough people who haven't been vaccinated yet who can then generate more variants, which will then possibly evade vaccines down the line. So, Europe has really got a struggle on its hands trying to convince these 150 million people who have not been vaccinated to go and get their shot. Some of them have good enough reasons, health reasons, and all the rest of it. The vast majority of them
150,000 troops under Alex.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. It's hard to watch. So I just talked to a student who used to live with us from Germany. She said the
And then England.
this is impacting traditions.
Yeah, England, Britain.
And,
Wait.
What the world wants to see and participate in.
Over there.
And you've been covering this pandemic, James, closely for the past 2 years. What has stood out to you?
Well, I think, I've been to parts of the world where healthcare provision is really difficult to come by. Brazil, for instance, we were in the middle of the Amazon rainforest region where people were dying of COVID. They couldn't get hold of the drugs they needed, and vaccines have been very difficult to come by.
Amazon has
Then I've been to parts of the world,
how many?
Like in Europe, COVID wards and all the rest of it, and then meeting people who don't want to get vaccinated. And there's a shortage of vaccines in this part of the world.
What's his name?
There are people around the world,
Wife loaded.
who don't have enough. At the moment, I have got my third shot, while people in parts of the world haven't got anything. Lots of people who want what we have, and while we reject the things that we've already got. Karen?
James Longman, always great to talk to you and get more perspective. Appreciate you, James.
Thanks, Karen.
I have to look it up. He didn't tell me. He's fucking not on it.
National Security Correspondent Sasha Ingram has been following all of the developments today. She's joining us live now. They're from D.C. So,
Amazon.
Sasha, why is this meeting, of course, so critical for President Biden? You could argue this is the biggest foreign policy meeting in the presidency to a known adversary of our country.
20 million. 10 million.
That's right, Well, his main
30
objective
million.
in what became a 2-hour meeting was to ultimately dissuade Putin
30 million.
invading Ukraine as we saw in 2014.
30 million.
That is what the U.S. intelligence
30 million
community has
troops.
said could happen in the early part
That was
of
the
next
size of
year.
a federal
But
agency.
officials say that they
That's
aren't
bigger
sure
than the
that
federal
Putin
government.
has made up his mind. At the same time, Putin has very different
Now
goals,
Snyder.
and that became clear because we have not seen any
Shit,
true
Biden's
outcomes
direct
yet come from
Stop
this
this
video conference today.
fucking bullshit.
Putin wants a guarantee that NATO will not move eastward, which he believes threatens Russia. He wants a guarantee that Ukraine will not join NATO. And he also wants to know that NATO will not provide any support in the form of troops or weapons to Ukraine. And this is something that the Biden administration says is not going to happen. That the U.S. supports countries being able to make up their own security decisions, and that NATO members will be
30
the ones
million.
to choose whether or not other countries join NATO.
30
So,
million
as we
assets.
said, this is a major diplomatic challenge for
Assets.
Biden, and it could very well destabilize Europe
I
if
call
Putin
Bezos.
decides to move forward
This
with
way.
his troops invading Ukraine.
And obviously, it's hard not to note the difference
Bigger
in
than
the
Fed.
tenor relationship between
Fed.
Biden and Putin versus what we saw between former President Trump and Putin. But let's talk about this potential Ukraine invasion. Obviously, Russia has done this before when it annexed Crimea, so there is strong precedent here, meaning there's a real reason to worry it could happen again. If the worst case scenario plays out and Putin moves in, what are President Biden's options? Because it seems like no matter what puts the president in a tough spot. We don't want a war, but we don't want to look weak.
That's right. I think that the Biden administration has to walk a really
So
fine
Biden
line right now. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan
needs
just
to
moments ago
resign
said that the United States
and
is
put
prepared
Strahan in
to do
charge
things
of a heart condition.
now that it wasn't prepared to do in 2014 when
22.
Russia annexed Crimea. What exactly are those things? We don't know. Sullivan said that he doesn't want to telegraph them. So
I already
it's
said it.
anybody's guess. Now we know that the Biden administration
Don't make
has
me look a
stopped
fool.
short of offering any kind of military
No
action
fucking
by
way.
the U.S. military. But Sullivan and others
Make it a council.
about increasing
He's a chairman.
support for Ukrainian defense
He
forces,
does whatever
and also
fucking Putin and him
welcoming
talk
an
about.
increase of troops on the European flank. So that means that if Russia does,
I don't care.
there would
I
be
don't
a
care.
change up in Europe.
He can cry and pout all he fucking wants.
The tool that we see are stiff economic sanctions. And they're
Fuck,
hoping
no.
that now, as opposed to 2014, when such threats were made even back then,
We don't need
that there
jack
will be
shit
a shift in Russia's
from
logic.
out of here.
Take a listen to
We got all we need
what a
here.
former commander of U.S. Army Europe had to say to me when we talk about sanctions and the importance of unity in Europe in imposing those sanctions.
Normally, the storage tanks around Europe would be full, and they're not. They're probably about 2/3 filled to capacity now, and generally, broadly speaking.
Okay, speak to Glenn. Stop. Just fucking talk to
Now,
Glenn.
the Kremlin has said, hey, we've met all of our contract obligations.
We don't care about
That's
that.
probably true. But the point is, normally, by this time, there's excess capacity, or excuse me, excess supply on hand to get through
Right.
a winter for power generation as well as for heat.
There you go.
It's not there this time. That means that the Kremlin can look at Berlin or Paris or Brussels or
So
The Hague and say, you guys, if you are unhappy with what we're doing in Ukraine, and you decide to join the Americans in some kind of rigorous sanctions program, or maybe even you start moving military capability around, we're going to turn off your gas.
And of course, Russia's actions will always speak louder than Putin's words for all.
remember when they want to let that cruise ship land?
I told you I was going to win. Windows 11 takes game to another level when it comes to
How many died?
movies. You don't really experiencing any suffering that quick. I was generally surprised.
Passion for protecting vehicles started in 1934, and we've been pushing the limits of performance ever since. We innovate with the times and have the right filters to fit your needs. Fran for the road ahead.
Fram. What is this? Oh, there's the player. You got my shit. Thank you. Diana's gonna be very thankful to see the trophy that she won. I stole it. They stole my shit. Fuckers.
News exclusive. 2 years after 3 young American sailors were gunned down by a Saudi Air Force officer in training, there's still so many questions about how this could have happened. That's because government reports indicate the officer was communicating with Al Qaeda for years leading up to it. Tonight, the survivors are speaking with senior investigative correspondent David Scott about the brutal act of terror committed on U.S. soil. It's a story that was quickly overshadowed because of the pandemic.
Dear Mom, I want you to know how much you mean to me.
Benjamin and Sheila Watson still visit their son's now empty house. They're haunted by his memories, a grief so deep it's like a missing limb.
Kayla was born into that post 9/11 world. We always knew from the age of 5 that he was going to be a soldier.
Ensign Joshua Caleb Watson was born the third of 3.
Thought I was gonna fly jets.
When he came to college, Caleb took aim at the U.S. Naval Academy, where the acceptance rate is less than 10%.
He said, "You know what makes
Blue
the
Angels.
United States of America a superpower?"
I built the models.
He let me
Those
know
are
about
cool.
it and said, United States Navy.
After graduating, Caleb wanted to be a pilot, a path that would bring him to Pennsylvania.
I went on to Midway.
just 2 hours from home. Not only are all Navy
And I didn't bang my head once.
there,
You'd
so
be
are
proud.
foreign pilots on exchange
Most people
programs
bang their
from
head.
countries all over the world.
He's like, "Dad, everybody I've met from a foreign country through the Navy," he said, "every one of them is just like me. They want to serve their country."
American bases have been targets of deadly violence before. But what happened on December 6, 2019?
My shit die?
Thursday night,
No, it didn't. I just gotta cover the screen. I got a lot of messages.
go to work. He called us. I love you.
Good afternoon.
I love you too, Mom.
I'm
I love you, Dad.
shut down.
That was the last time they heard from Caleb, as he reported to Building
Shut down.
633 for overnight watch. By early morning, Caleb, whose ship was winding down, was
Overnight
joined by
watch.
Private First Class Cameron Walters, as many people across the base were just starting their day.
Watch
Like
is on.
then Airman George Johnson, a young father who had been in the Navy